Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. We are live Wednesday night, January 28th, 2026, to discuss the second episode of the great new Game of Thrones series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So we are going to be discussing that with this great roundtable tonight. As always, we have my trusty co-host, Mr. Jeff S. TrueKnowledge. How we doing, Jeff?
Wonderful, sir. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. We also have returning on the panel one of our recurring guests, one of our great moderators of love, as I like to call him, the great Andres, the pop culture guy. How we doing, Andres?
Very good.
Mr. Time Lord, Time Cop, whatever you want to call him. I had to give him a new name, folks. It's been a while, so he needed a new entrance.
Love Lord?
Yeah, Love Lord, yep. Anyways, we have also returning, who has been a frequent guest on the Bleeding Edge over several shows that we have done, Mr. Imran from the Jock and Nerd podcast. How we doing, Imran?
I'm good. It's cold, but I'm inside and it's warm, and we're with the Love Guru. So what could be better?
Excellent. It's great to be with the Love Guru, right? Namaste.
Namaste.
Marishka Hargiti. Anyways, we also have returning, who has been on a couple times now with us from the Franchise Addicts, Mr. Luke. How we doing, Luke?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Great to have you back, sir. All right. So, like I said, we're going to be discussing the second episode of the new Game of Thrones series, which is called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. The second episode happens to be named Hard Salt Beef. I mean, that's pretty accurate there, especially with that opening sequence we'll be talking about here shortly. But this episode is once again directed by Owen Harris, written by Aziza Barnes and Ira Parker, who Ira Parker was a writer on the first episode. So I think, once again, I think we have that great writing like we did with the last episode. And I think overall, another fun episode. Short, as you guys were kind of mentioning as I came into the studio, I feel, yes, this episode was only 34 minutes long, which seemed pretty short for this type of series, this type of show. So I was really shocked at how short this episode was. I think it went by pretty fast, but I still think within that short amount of time, there was quite a bit that went on that was really fun and enjoyable. All right, so going into this episode, if I remember correctly, this is the first time Luke's joining us for this series. I believe this is also Emron's first time joining us for this series. And I just want to get your guys' opinion on the first episode going into the second episode, and I'll start with you, Emron.
Well, I didn't know what to expect going into the show. I know they're based off these novellas. I've not read them, and I know it was taking place in between the two shows. But I'm surprisingly delighted. I love this show. It's different, but it's still Game of Thrones quality. But it's like a Game of Thrones comedy with just common people, and it's been just hilarious. I found myself chuckle. There's a couple of really funny scenes in this show, and I don't know if this is going to be a running gag where they open the show with some shocking, tasteless thing. But I love it. I don't know if they can keep it up for 8 episodes. What are you going to show us next? I'm almost afraid to ask, but I can't wait to see it. So, yeah, I love Dunk. He's a big dummy. He's tall. Little Egg is great. Their chemistry is great. It looks great. Really been enjoying the show so far.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Going over to you, Luke, your thoughts on the first episode leading up to the second episode.
Yeah, I had an idea of what to expect. I had heard about these novellas. I stopped watching House of Dragon. I had read that book, so I know what happens in that story. So, and the show didn't intrigue me enough to keep watching. But I really liked the first Game of Thrones, and this I was like, all right, fun. I'll check it out. This reminds me a lot of the Arya and the Hound scenes that we got a lot in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I thought the first episode was a little bit long. They had to do a little bit too much setup. But I think the last 20-25 minutes of the first episode and then into this second episode flowed really, really nicely. I think the characters are really fun. It's cool seeing Targaryens in different lights and stuff like that. It's cool that it's in the middle of the House of Dragon and Game of Thrones. So there's a lot of transition to play with in this, kind of pointless story in the grand scheme of things, but it's cool to get to for a bit.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right. So going over to my two gentlemen on the panel that are always here, Mr. Andres, the pop culture guy, and Mr. Jeff S. What were your guys' thoughts going into this episode? What were you expecting? Was there anything you were hoping for, or was there anything that you wish they had explained? You're hoping to see explained maybe in this episode versus the first episode. I'll start with you, Mr. Andres.
Sure. Yeah, I actually like this episode more than the first one. I agree with Luke that because one of my problems with last week's first episode was that it was kind of too slow, and then it kind of ended, as you were saying, Saber, last week, abruptly. I think this episode was way more better structure, and I felt like the pacing was much better, and I thought the ending was better. It was like, because they left us in a very intriguing spot with what's his name, the Dunk, after seeing the tournament and all that, and then just like, oh my god, what kind of night I want to set up to be, it's a very relatable thing. So I thought it was pretty cool, and I just like how they opened their episodes. It's just funny. It's like, we're gonna show you how we go to the bathroom, and like twice. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, wow.
That's true.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god. And so the right away is like, yep, this is different than as the other Game of Thrones shows, which as kind of expected. And I asked Luke, I kind of got that the feel about the show, hearing about the novella and the stories about the show is based upon was kind of intriguing. But yeah, so I'm enjoying the show so far, which is good.
Thank you, sir. Excellent job. Now going over to you, Mr. Jeff. Your thoughts, sir, leading into the second episode.
Yes, well, definitely. I'll spin off of Luke, I guess. And Imran. In terms of, I really am digging the difference with this show compared to House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. The comedic, or however you want to describe it, sort of element, that they're really focusing on, I think, as far as like the atmosphere, of the show overall. I feel like, they're doing things each episode of the show to make this story where you're centered around like it's already been said, a lot of like the small folk, they're adding elements to each episode that are making it entertaining. They're doing a good job with that, with the writing being pretty solid, and obviously good directing, and just so far, I thought episode 1 was really good. I mean, I gave it a 10. That was my rating on it. So I really liked the first episode, and I didn't think there was really a massive drop off with episode 2. It was a lot shorter in length, but still, like Imran said, it still had and like Cyber said, still had a lot of good things going for it. For a 34-minute episode, I feel like there's a lot of like stuff that you could talk about, that happened in the episode. All the scenes are very rich, in this show, so there's always very easy to have conversation about what occurs in the episodes. Yeah, I really liked episode 1, and 2 was pretty solid, but felt more like if possible, like a fillerish kind of episode, if anything, But we're going to be obviously we're going to be getting into like, this tournament, eventually. Right. So when that happens, I'm sure that will be, a really big, big deal. And that will probably kind of close out the season almost, I would think. Yeah, I love that they're centering the whole season basically like it looks like at this tournament camp, and you get to see like, the infrastructure of the camp and everything, as Dunk kind of walks around, you know what I mean? It goes from place to place, I'm loving the set design and everything that they have going on the show, I think in episode 2 they go into like a castle at one point, Dunk goes in like a castle at one point. I thought that was neat. I'm loving the show so far. It's really good. Very solid television show so far. I'm really enjoying it. That's it, Cyber.
All right, thank you. Excellent job. All right. Excellent vote, everyone. Great job, everyone. Billion points for everyone. All right, so getting into hard salt beef. So Dunk does a eulogy for Arlen to numerous participants at the tournament, including Lord Leo Tyrell. But no one remembers Arlen serving them. And during this section, the episode begins with Arlen walking out butt-ass naked with the huge fake dong and peeing out of it, which was absolutely fucking hilarious. I don't get why they decided to show that, but okay, if that's what you want to show. And I was just kind of like, what? I'm like, what am I watching here at first? But that whole sequence is interesting. Watching him, they're like riding and kind of like watching Arlen kind of slowly die as they're going about these things. And, basically reaching the point where Duncan has kind of finished up telling the story, and burying Arlen as well, and that's how the first episode began. He then witnesses the arrival of Targan princes, Baylor, Makar, and Arion. So I'll stop there. I feel that's a good little portion of the beginning there, because we get that introduction of them and stuff like that, which is really fun. But yeah, I mean that beginning section cracked me up. I was like literally sitting there going, okay. I'm like, that was the first thing they showed. I'm like, well, this is an interesting way of starting the fucking show. Okay. I mean, at least they have the, in the background, naked chick, at least it wasn't, something else. But I was like, at least, I was like, why would they make it so large? And that was my other question. I'm like, why is it so large? Like, I know as you get older, it like sags. I get that, but not to that extent, like Ron Jeremy level. Okay. So I think that was kind of hilarious at the same time. You can tell it was so fake, but at the same time, I'm just like, why did they decide to show this? But anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on this beginning section leading up to the introduction of the Targaryen princes? Baylor, Makar, and Arion, and kind of that beginning kind of like eulogy that Dunk gives for Arlen as he's talking to the several tournament knights. And I'll start with you, Emron.
Giant cock. That's a prosthetic, right? That's not natural. That's not like, it's got to be a prosthetic. If it is, it's well done prosthetic. That man, that dueling with 3 swords. You got one in each hand. And then like he could take anybody down. My God, I did like learning about Arlen, right? It's you're learning some more about Dunk's knight and his training. And then the show also loves to use the C word. They must have said that word like 12 times this episode, but it is Westeros. They just throw that word around like it's nothing. So yeah, no, it's fun to see Targaryens. And also I noticed, and this comes up later, but when the Targaryens show up, Egg kind of gets freaked out and he wants to leave. And then we find out what happens. And like I was starting to put connections together going, oh, that's interesting. Suddenly Egg looks a little scared when the Targaryens show up. I wonder why. And I hope that pans out. But yeah, we got a Baratheon. Last episode, the Baratheons around, that dude Lionel, and now we got some Targaryens. So you can't have a Game of Thrones show until Targaryens show up and start fucking things up, which is what they always do. And here they're doing the same. It was great.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, going over to you, Jeff. Your thoughts, sir, on the beginning sequence up to the introduction of the Targaryen princes.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Targaryens not like having incestual relationships, like on the show. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised there were no sister wives or anything like that, that went with them. You know what I'm saying? Because the Targaryens like to, consummate, their relationships with their siblings.
Well, they all did. They're the Lannisters too. Like they all did the same thing.
Oh, the Lannisters too?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was the actual family tradition.
Famously, yes. That's why the dude got pushed out the window.
Pilot episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cersei and what's his face? Yeah.
Yeah. But with the Targaryens, the intermarrying between family is like a regular thing in their family. Across the decades. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing it.
The Targaryens are washed at this point. They're the late stage Targaryens.
Oh, so these are the Targaryens that
these are the Targaryens that eventually get like wiped out, and then Daenerys is like the last Targaryen.
That's right.
These guys are way away from the fame and glory. They're still like in charge, but like they are not. There's no more dragons in the realm. Like they're washed, man.
I got you.
They're done.
This is like Jordan on the Magic.
So they're not fucking. They're not fucking their sisters anymore.
Well, you can tell like they don't all have the white hair.
That's
anymore.
true.
Yeah, that's true.
There's indication that there's been some mixing with other families and stuff like that. So in name they are Targaryens, but they're late stage.
Yeah,
much like our capitalism.
Who is it Baelor? Is he the king?
He's the prince in hand of the king.
Oh, the prince in hand. Okay.
People still hate. It seems like people still hate them and fear them, though. Even still, from there.
Yeah, they're still in charge.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're in charge until Jaime is the usurper and kills the Mad King.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know where all this knowledge is, Imran, but it's
pretty good. That's pretty good.
All night.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the whole flashback backstory with the the dead knight I did not realize that was a prosthetic with the
it has to be.
penis but that was very HBO to have include that full frontal nudity in the show like that it's I mean when you start doing stuff like that it's almost like what's next, you know what I'm saying, like is Dunk gonna show his fucking dong or something like next or some shit like that yeah, we know that CD Stein I noticed too, Imran, that Egg seems really disturbed.
He got worried
by seeing the Targaryens, because he obviously does not want to be seen by the Targaryens, which is interesting. Obviously, obviously it'd be interesting to know more about Egg's background, where he came from and everything, because he's a Targaryen. We already know that, right? So, he's Egg's a very interesting character.
He's great.
I love their dynamic, on the show. Dunk and Egg, together, they're great. They have a really entertaining relationship on the show that's fun to watch. Seeing the Targaryens show up was cool because this is like the medieval time period they live in Game of Thrones, where royalty and knights and all that stuff are such an important deal. Their entrance was really interesting. Them thinking that Dunk was the fucking stable boy and everything. That was funny. Dunk brings the horse in himself, when the horse kicks his rider, saves the horse almost, you kind of see that Dunk really loves animals, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Dunk's a good guy, overall, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's just a really, like he says, he's a really honorable guy, basically, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, Cyber. I enjoyed the opening, scenes of the episode were pretty solid.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Going over to you, Luke. What are your thoughts, sir, on this beginning opening, leading into the introduction of the Targaryens?
Yeah, really good. I like the. I mean, you guys already talked about the huge dick, but the voiceover stuff is really like a compelling storytelling element. Basically, the story Dunk is telling to himself about what his legacy should be and then become. So, I mean, obviously, it's from Martin, so it's good writing, and kind of sets this up. I like the atmosphere. I like, the world that we are getting into here. Reminds me of the Heath Ledger movie A Knight's Tale.
Oh yeah.
So we get a lot of that. I love the Egg and Dunk interactions back and forth. It's always good. Obviously, we know Egg is a special little boy. So it's cool that he drops kind of all this knowledge that only someone from royalty would know. And to a layperson like Dunk seems like this magic wisdom knowledge. Like, how does he know all this shit? And it's like every kid that's born into royalty knows every night. Like, that's just, they don't go to school. They just learn that shit. So like, it's just really cool that they get to like really focus on this kind of interaction. And we're not like doing world building shit and jumping all over the map all the time, and like we're always in these dark rooms where everyone's so gosh darn serious all the time. Like House of Dragons, I don't mean to just come on here and just rip that show, but like it's so like depressing and like over dramatized and like really battle heavy. And I really like parts of Game of Thrones where it settled down and was quieter and you got to know characters, and that's what this show is. That's how this show starts. And it's really cool to see different Targaryens. So yeah, I really enjoyed the opening to this episode.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Great job, everyone. Once again, excellent. Beautiful job. Another 1 billion points for everyone. All right. So, moving on with the episode. So, the King's Guard, Sir Roland Crackhall, and Sir Donald of Duskendale question Dunk's legitimacy as a knight. Dunk overhears the Myakar's children, Darian and Aegon, are missing and asks the Targaryens to vouch for him. Baylor remembers Arlen and vouches for Dunk, but tells him to create his own coat of arms. So we'll stop there, which is a pretty good chunk there. We get that great stable sequence, with the Targaryens, and they think that Dunk is like a servant of some sort. You got that great sequence there that happens where he has to sell the horse for a helmet. And you get all that stable stuff going on there and kind of the funny things going on there. And then of course, when he goes in and like is eavesdropping on like we said, the children, and they're talking and stuff like that. And the daughter of that one guy is like, walks up to him and says something to him that says he's like an idiot or something. It was super funny. I cracked up super hard there. And I was just like, that was so random. But then like they catch him behind the wall. They're like, oh, okay, and basically tells them, what's, about Arlen again and stuff like that. And then they end up vouching for him and say, yeah, you can enter the tournament. And then, then they basically say that he's not the rightful blood of Arlen, so he can't have his coat of arms. He can't have that sword. He has to get his own. And he's like, okay, I'll do that, And I think that whole sequence is, I think, really fun. I think the whole interaction, the whole conversation and everything is really interesting. And I think there's some really great kind of comical moments there. And especially as Jeff had mentioned earlier about where do I go take a shit? That was super funny too.
Good place to shit around here.
Is there a good place to shit? Yeah.
No, he just goes, no.
Yeah, unlike in the first episode when Dunk just shits, against the tree.
Yeah.
So there you go. But anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on this section? What did you think about Dunk getting into the tournament? What did you think about that whole stable sequence and kind of the Targaryens and stuff going on there, and them actually vouching for him? And this time I'll start with you, Luke.
Yeah, I think Daemon Targaryen's a very interesting character. I can't wait to get to know him a little bit better. Seems like a stand-up guy, at least to Dunk here. Remembering who his knight guy was, remembering him. Although he doesn't take Dunk's correction. So who is right? We'll never know because Dunk gave in. Never give in, Dunk. Always hammer your point home if you think you're correct. It's really cool to just get to meet these new guys in this kind of fun, it doesn't seem too serious type of atmosphere. The guy who is the young Targaryen that mistook Dunk for being a stable boy, he's from True Detective Night Country. He's the young male cop that works with Jodie Foster.
Oh yeah.
So it's cool to see him on. He's an HBO regular now, and all that sort of stuff. And then just cool vibes all the way through this section. I really enjoy it.
Excellent, thank you, sir. All right, going over to you, Andreas. Please forgive me for forgetting you on the first question. Go ahead and answer the first question and the second question, please, sir.
Yeah. Nothing much about the first question. It was really cool to see. I
The
kind of
giant dick?
No. Okay, that traumatized me. I was like, what the hell is going
He had
on
nightmares.
here?
Andreas had nightmares that evening.
No, I have nightmares now. I mean, look, first 28 years later, now this, I'm like, come on, what is this? Going to be a trend now?
It is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Bone Temple didn't shy away either. But no, I kind of agree with Luke. It's really cool to see, because the one aspect I was very excited for was to see the different stages of the Targaryens reign. That is always interesting to me, especially when I got into the universe. And we saw how it was in the original show, Game of Thrones, and then House of Dragon. You're seeing their the high of their power. And then seeing how this show is going to depict this, okay, they're kind of still in power, but it's before the Baratheon does the rebellion against the Mad King, and and of course Jaime Lannister will kill him, as we knew from the original series. So that was really cool, and I liked it. You guys brought up it was funny when the Targaryens came up. It's oh my god, you saw the different colors. I was like, wow, they didn't even try to hide, even though they're legit. That one Targaryen that's definitely a Targaryen with the white hair was oh yeah, he's definitely a Targaryen. As we saw in House of the Dragons, every Targaryen was sleeping with everyone, so it was I was not surprised about that. But yeah, I like Dunk. Sorry, my bad. Dunk is a really fun character. I really like his character. I agree with Luke. I like the setup that we're doing with Egg, their relationship. As I kind of wonder when Dunk is going to realize that he has more knowledge than any of these kids. And he's from royalty, and I think that's going to be quite interesting. So I like the beginning part, just seeing him try to get some sponsored by any house if they know about his former master, which none of them do. And then to the next question, of course, you see him, still looking for some sponsor. Then he gets to the Targaryens. Very interesting. I do agree with Luke about, was it Balahor? I'm sorry, I can't. The guy that was the nicest Targaryen, the nicest Targaryen. Yeah, Balahor. Thank you.
Baelor.
He was nice. Baelor, right? Am I saying that right? Okay. Baelor, was a good, he was a nice Targaryen, and he, was nice to Dunk, where his brother was so awful. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? He's definitely a Targaryen, his attitude and all that. I'm curious. I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do with that storyline about their two sons missing. If that's gonna be important in the show, first season. But I mean, we'll see. But that was funny when the girl, one of the princesses, came to Dunk and it's yeah, why are you spying? You know, like that was funny moment there. But no, I really like this sections of the story. This is where I felt like the story was like way more like focused. Like we know what was the like idea for Dunk, what he's trying to do, and like okay, now he has a vouch from the Targaryens. But it was interesting that they say that oh, you need to create your own crest and arms. So that was interesting, and I kind of like that. Throughout the episode, he's trying to like reestablish him as like his own house, which is kind of unique. So that was the best part about that episode, and it's a sad moment, I gotta say. When we get to towards the end, I kind of felt sorry for him and his white horse. It's like, oh man, I had to sell that horse. But anyway, that's my thoughts on those two questions, Cyber.
All right, excellent. Thank you, sir. All right, going over to you, Jeff. Your thoughts, sir, on the second section, sir, which includes up to Duncan being able to be in the tournament and them telling him he needs a new coat of arms.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's very positive, that, Dunk now has, backing for the tournament, obviously, because, being the main character of the show, and such a likable character, you root for Dunk, you want him to succeed, and get in the tournament, and, perform well, in the tournament, whatever, however that shakes out, you root for Dunk. So, yeah, I'm glad he was, I was concerned about that and how that was going to play out, obviously, Dunk was concerned too, when he got caught out there, I really wasn't sure how that was going to play out. I was kind of concerned for him myself, how that was going to work out for him. But, luckily, the one prince was nice. So, and remembered the night, so, that worked out good. I liked the actual stable boy, asking Dunk, to move. He's like, are you,
Are you
what's his name?
Targaryen, sir?
Yeah, are you,
no. Well,
yeah.
kindly get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. Great, just a great humor injection right there, for the episode. Obviously I already talked about it before, but the scenes with Dunk and that horse that he like saves, from getting like beat or whatever, were cute. I like those. They really help kind of round Dunk out, as a character, whenever you see him, spending time with the horses and things like that. I like that. Yeah, I mean, besides that, I do like the sort of banter between the Targaryen princes, and the whatever these other lords are or whatever that you see in these scenes. They're sort of like interpersonal relationships with each other. It's interesting, I guess. They are Targaryens, so anytime you can cross into that world, and inject those characters like that into the show, based off our experience with Game of Thrones, as people have already mentioned already, and House of Dragon, which I will say, for just, shout out to House of Dragon. The first season's actually pretty good. If anything, I can see where people would be critical with the second season, but I like the first season. I think the first season of House of Dragon was actually pretty solid. It was pretty well acted, I thought. Yeah, that's pretty legit, Cyber.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good job. Now going over to you, Mr. Imran. What are your thoughts, sir, on this section?
Well, I will agree with Luke. I love that this show is not so serious. It's a great change of flavor, something I think Game of Thrones needs, because you're right. Those other shows are like so fucking serious and highbrow. This hanging out with the common folk is great. And the character work is just fantastic. It's so quickly Like, Dunk is an honorable, good dude. He'll tell the truth. He's sincere, but also he's very awkward and will just say the fucking wrong thing at the wrong time. Like when they tell him his sons are missing and he goes, I trust they won't find them dead. The guy just looks at him like, the fuck is wrong with you, dude? And then he can't find his way out. It's adorable. But the balls, it's either balls or ignorance of him asking a Targaryen to vouch for him. Especially since nobody remembered Arlen of Penny Tree, and that kind of made me wonder if Arlen was lying to Dunk the whole time. But he wasn't. This guy does remember him, or maybe he wants to, and maybe Baelor's like, "There's a big dude. I might need him on my side later." And he's the one who gets him in the thing. I was happy for Dunk. He catches a break, thanks to Targaryens of all fucking people. So that was fun.
All right. Thank you, sir. Excellent job. All right. Excellent, everyone. Wow. You guys are just breezing through this like a dragon on a burning page. All right. Excellent job, guys. All right. So, Dunk and Egg watch one of Tenzel's performances about Florian the Fool, and an infatuated drunk asks Tenzel to paint his new coat of arms. Lionel drafts Dunk and Egg to help in a tug-of-war game, which they win. So we'll stop there. I think that's a great little section to talk about. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that goes on there. I think the whole Dunk situation, having that girl paint his coat of arms, is pretty fun. Them doing the tug-of-war, with Lionel is absolutely hilarious when he, stops helping pull and goes to drink and then comes back and pulls. Like, that's totally what Lionel would fucking do.
He's great.
He's great. That character is absolutely freaking hilarious. He slaps him a Dunk on the ass as he's coming back. That was fucking hilarious. Like, that character is such a great character, and I hope we get to see even more of him down the road. He's just such a fun character, especially in the last episode. That whole situation was so funny. But I think the tug of war is so funny, especially when they're like trying to pull and like Dunk is like sliding a little bit, and then Egg is basically climbed up on the rope trying to help pull. It's freaking awesome. So I think this is a great section. So what are you guys' thoughts on this section? And I'll start with you, Imran.
I mean, two really funny scenes right here when he's talking. Again, Dunk is a guy who's got fall in love with the first girl that he meets, right? He's that kind of dude. But when he's talking to her, and then she's like, they used to call me too tall. And he's like, oh, you're just the right height. 4. And then he goes, 4. And then Egg has to pop it and go, puppets. Of course, puppet. Like, he's so awkward. He has no game. It's so funny. And then afterwards, when they're talking, he's like, whoa, how do you think that go? How do you think that went? And then the whole sequence where he's like, they used to call me stupid. And then he just stops. And Egg is like, and then Doug's just like, what? What are you talking about? And it's so funny. And the tug of war is great because it gives them a little triumph, a little victory. I even love when Doug just throws Egg in the air real quick, like way high in the air. It's so adorable. But Lionel's great. He's like, I'm thirsty. I'll be back. And then he just goes, fucking pull. They all go down. So again, all great character work. Like you really get to love these characters really quickly with what they're giving you.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Excellent. All right. Going over to you, Andres. What are your thoughts, sir, on these two fun scenes?
Fantastic. I thought they were great. I agree with Ron just brought up before the speech. Like Duggan tried to do like this, like very this, like, what do you call it, like inferential speech of like, look, they call me stupid, and then I like how he just did it, like continue with the after the stupid part, and like he's like, okay, what happened if they call you stupid? It was so funny. I really liked that. So that was really cool, and yeah, that, like, oh my god, that crazy like tug of war was hilarious. Like just seeing Dunk pulling it, and then like see the egg like just hold it like almost got Batman like crawling in the wall from the '60s show, and then seeing the cane that just like, oh, I need my drink. I'm like, what the hell? You're not helping your team. You're like, I was like, what the hell? That is so funny. A show like Game of Thrones could pull that off. I just think that was hilarious. I like the kind of that kind of cute meet he did with that was it that the girl that did the show prior to the tug of war. That I really like. I like that kind of like bubbly romance. Maybe we'll see if that goes anywhere. Yeah, very curious what he's gonna have for the kind of crest, because it could be cool. We'll see. But yeah, I agree with the compliment here. Was it a CD 69? Like, I agree. That manic between the egg and dog in here was so good in this parts. I think the tug of war, we really needed that, and like Dunk talking to Egg about why he's doing this and all that. It's kind of cool. I agree with you guys that it's such a different show. It's a more character driven show, and like it's more lighter than the other two shows that we have in this universe, because it's always dark and very political. Like it's all just like it's just like twists and turns, and like the moving parts is like, oh my god, and like it gets like exhausting sometimes. Like I saw 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. It's like, oh my god, it's just like the backstabbing, the murder, and all that is like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And then it's so refreshing to see this show being light. I think just using toilet jokes is like a good way to tell me that, oh yeah, we're the funny people here. Look, we're making toilet jokes. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't need you to do it all the time. Hopefully next week they would do like something like I don't know, like a fart joke or something like that. Or I mean, that's a toilet joke, but anyway, I thought this section was really great. I agree with another thing. I love the costumes actually in this show. One thing I did not like about the original show, and I appreciate about the House of Dragon, is that I like that we can understand which house we're in. That was something that was a problem with George R.R. Martin when the original Game of Thrones came out. So I'm happy that this show is really showing kind of like the best representation of the houses. Like when the Targaryens first appear, like you can tell that was them. Of course that their logo is still the same from the House of the Dragon, but like I appreciate that we know each of the houses and like who is who, with the costumes and all that. I really like the production design here. Like everything is top notch here. It's really nice. So yeah, I really love this section. One of the most funniest scenes in this episode. This really got me into a great mood for tonight. So that was really great. So that's all I have to say.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Good job. Good job. All right. Going over to you, Luke. What are your thoughts, sir, on these two scenes?
Yeah. Reflect what you guys are saying. A lot of fun. I think the Lionel, the Baratheon guy, he works. I think one of the reasons that he works is that he looks like Peter Dinklage, and Tyrion's the best character in Game of Thrones. So it's nice to have that kind of face, that kind of attitude, that kind of carefree, like fuck everything, let's just drink and be smart or try to say smart words. Really, really fun vibe that guy gives off. So he's just a burst of energy anytime that he's in a scene. Also, this might be because Stranger Things has just polluted my mind, and now I can only understand references through a Dungeons and Dragons, referencing. But this feels just like about town Dungeons and Dragons type stuff, getting to know the people, getting to know the area, collecting information, that sort of stuff. Just kind of mini adventures, while still knowing that there's a bigger overall goal, like we have the tournament to get to. So this is just kind of collecting supplies and stuff like that. So that piques my interest. I enjoy watching that type of stuff and having that kind of insight into it. So this is just fun little side quest, fun little stuff. I don't know. I'm pretty sure in high school we outlawed tying the rope around your waist if you were the back guy.
Oh,
in
at the
tug of
end,
war.
that was interesting. I thought it was interesting.
I'm saying a little dirty pool on Dunk's part.
When you
Yeah.
got Dunk, you put him in the back and tie the rope around. Come on, this guy's gonna pull everybody.
I'm just saying they were cheating. I didn't see if the guy on the other side also had the rope wrapped around him, but we did not allow that where I came from. So Dunk, you're a cheater. Asterisk next to you in the Tug of War Hall of Fame. Good stuff. That's it.
All right, thank you, Luke. Good job. Excellent. And great cross chatter. These cross chatters sometimes are like really out there, but sometimes they are so on point, they're fantastic. So I have to give you guys props tonight for this great cross chatter. All right, going over to you, Sir Jeff. Your thoughts, sir, on these two sequences.
I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about these scenes, to be honest with you. I mean, sort of like, the preemptive period before like the tournament starts that night later on, I do enjoy the scene where Donk approaches that chick, that's one of the actors or whatever, I don't know if we already talked about that or not, but I did really enjoy that. I thought that was really great. When he wanted her to paint the new sigil or whatever on his shield. That was really good. I like that. That really added something kind of cool, to the episode, I thought. And I like the little plays, that they do, that the actors do, I like that with Game of Thrones too. I really enjoyed that aspect. I mean, it's kind of sad seeing Dunk have to sell his horse and everything, I did not really enjoy that, what I'm saying? That was kind of sad, kind of depressing, but he got a lot of coin for it, so he'll be able to buy his armor, which, that's what he's got to do. Right. So, you got to have armor, for the tournament. So, he had to do what he had to do. Hopefully he'll be able to buy his horse back, like he said, I can't remember how much the armorer guy said he wanted for that armor. He wanted a lot of money. I know that. It was like 800.
800. And
yeah,
then
800.
600.
Yeah, 600. Yeah.
But then he was taking a trade and he gave him like 2. And the guy's like,
I
know. 2 for an hour.
I know.
No, for an hour. Yeah.
Oh, for an hour.
Or a day, mean? I think. It was a day, maybe. He gets the armor for a day.
Oh, for a day.
Just for the day. Oh, shit.
I think that's what it was. And then he was like, bring the rest later, or at least he would hold it for him for a day, and then he was going to sell his horse and then pay for the rest.
I see.
But it didn't seem like, I don't know what amounts those coins were. It did not seem like 600 of those coins. So, and he gave him a fair amount to pay for barley and stuff for the horse. I'm like, man, you kind of need that for your armor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's kind of like Marty Supreme just really stretching that dollar.
He wants to take care of that horse, man. That's
then he goes, and an apple. He makes him get an apple too. How much does that cost?
Yeah, that's this Donk, He likes to take care of his animals, baby.
What are the cost of eggs? Come on.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
What is this economy?
Having to eat salt pork, salt beef, or whatever, heart salt. Which I'm glad we don't have to eat that, or I'm glad we're not eating that currently. You know what I'm saying? We've evolved, from there. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. Good for us, right? Obviously, I'd like to see Donk bang like that actress chick, or whatever, that would be cool. I would definitely be down with that. I'm sure Donk would like that too, obviously. The humor that the guys already mentioned, that the humor with Donk and Egg, is great, with their dialogue. Egg is a really astute, 10-year-old or whatever the fuck he is, 12-year-old or whatever.
Yeah.
I they don't really say what his age is, so I'm just guessing, that he's 10, 12, something like that, I think that's about what he probably is. I love how he drinks alcohol, You know, like, you know what I'm saying? He's like
cider.
He's like 10 years old,
Yeah.
and he's drinking alcohol.
There's no age limits. There's no drinking.
Hold on.
Limits.
Yeah.
Can I ask something? Do you guys not know who Egg is?
So
he's a Targaryen.
Because I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Yeah, we know.
I didn't want to spoil it, but you guys,
Yeah.
Jeff, you and Andres gave answers throughout that. I'm like, what? Can I not spoil that?
No, I get it. He's a Targaryen. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't impact
he's one of the two kids, right?
He's one of the two kids that they're talking about.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Oh, okay. One of the missing princes or whatever.
Yeah, so they're looking for him. That's why he freaked out. He doesn't want to be found. He doesn't want to go back there.
Yep.
Yeah, he likes the common people. He likes being with the common folks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
He's down with the people.
He's on the lam.
Yeah. Hey, you know, that's what you got to do. You got to be a 10-year-old on a lamb back in the medieval times, you know, if you want to.
Like, doesn't he stick out? I mean, he's like a white bald kid. Like, not a better disguise. Like, won't they see him and be like, oh, there he is right there?
I don't know. Like, he doesn't have hair. Like,
for real, won't they notice him at the tournament?
Yeah. How are people from the north supposed to know what anyone in King's Landing looks like?
No, that's true.
True.
Well,
so I think that's the reason why he's able to kind of hide out, is like no one really knows who anyone looks like. They just know by like titles, and people like herald you as you come in.
Yeah. Oh, they announce you.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I'll have Cyber follow me around and announce me everywhere.
Presenting
that's
franchise addict.
That's all I got, Sir Cyber of the Tall. I'm out.
You should be called Sir Shark. That's his title. Or
Sir
10.
Shark?
10.
Sir Shark.
Yes.
Yes, that's me, Sir Shark. I'm Sir Shark. Welcome to the Shark Show. Anywho, thank you, Jeff. Great job, sir. Great cost chatter as usual. Excellent job, guys. All right. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think for myself, you know, this whole episode was just, I think, fun, just like the first episode. I've enjoyed up to this point. Like I said, I think this was probably my favorite part, was the tug of war and Dunk asking that girl to basically, you know, make his coat of arms because he has a thing for her. You can definitely tell. So I think that was just, I think those two scenes were just so much fun. All right. So moving on from there, where we left off, Dunk later sells a horse to afford new armor from blacksmith Steely Pate. The tournament begins as Dunk and Egg watch the first jousting matches, which include Prince Valor Targaryen and Lord Maegor Tully among the participants. Dunk becomes despondent with the realization that Arlen has no legacy because he achieved nothing in life, and that he faces the possibility of ending up exactly the same. And that's basically how the episode ends. I think that was a great way to end the episode. I love the jousting match. I think that was great. I wish it was a little bit longer, but I still think that it was still good enough to be very entertaining. And the fact that it's a Targaryen versus a Tully, I think, is very interesting too. And you know, kind of the relationship, I think people have kind of mentioned over time, like Dunk and Egg's relationship is a very interesting relationship. It's, you know, very symbiotic almost. It's very different than you would see with other, like, you know, knights and their squires and stuff like that. And I've loved the kind of the evolution in these first two episodes of kind of their relationship. And you could really see that at, you know, towards the end of this episode, you could see kind of how it's changing and altered, and kind of how Dunk feels about Egg and how Egg is responding to what Dunk's telling him and stuff like that. So I think they did a good job here with the end of this episode, making it very entertaining and fun. So what are your guys' thoughts on this final portion of the episode? You know, from the horse being sold to the jousting match, and Dunk realizing that he needs to make basically a legacy for himself. And I'll start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, the jousting was great. You know, I already discussed how I felt about the horse selling. You know, that was depressing. You know, honestly, kind of sad overall. You know, but still, still entertaining and, you know, understandable. You know, that he would have to do that. You know, I mean, he really did. He had an extra horse. You know, so I mean, it was actually a pretty logical, decision to make that transaction. You got a lot of coin for it too, you know. and he needs the armor, right? So, but yeah, the jousting was great. Again, like Luke said, very much like Knight's Tale or whatever the fuck the movie was. Very reminiscent. It was great. It looked great. It was shot well. Well acted. Watching them, go back and forth and get hit and horseback, and get another, fucking javelin or whatever the fuck they're called, lance or whatever, and horse back in, and go back down again and get hit again, fucking crazy, man. I would not want to joust. Honestly, I cannot imagine it's comfortable to get hit with that armor on. That's gotta hurt. And getting dehorsed completely, to the point where you go out of bounds and shit, seems very dangerous and very a very easy way to get injured, really injured, I can't imagine that getting dismounted from a horse, with that armor on, especially hitting the ground. Can't imagine that feels good. I would imagine that armor would kind of cut you a little bit, when you hit the ground and shit like that, wouldn't it kind of cut you a little bit? I don't know, man. I liked the way the episode closed out with Dunk kind of saying, hey, I'm gonna make myself, I'm gonna kick ass in this tournament and make my name, make a name, make you remember my former knight, mentor or whatever, I'm loving his positive attitude and everything. And again, the Dunk egg, scenes are great, where they're together, right? That's pretty much it, Cyber. I enjoyed it. Solid episode, very short. And that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you, sir. Going over to you, Luke, your thoughts on the final portion of the episode.
Yeah, great ending. I like that they made the jousting scary, as it ought be, because it's gigantic horses and large pulls and ramming into each other. I like that they had the crowd just be crazy into it and cheering. I think I've now just walked myself into the reason why I like this show so far is because it's basically a sports movie. Mm-hmm. And we're just gearing up for the big game. So I'm pretty excited for that. A lot of the shots to the crowd were very sports movie reminiscent. Yeah, and then the end of the episode, like Jeff was saying, a nice reflective moment from Dunk. Again, a very sports thing. This is about glory, legacy, prestige, having none of it, wanting it, having been trained for it, and then having to make the first big public appearance, the first big show of one's talent to prove one's worth. Is he going to be able to rise to the challenge? We'll see. But it's very cool that this is a character in Dunk who's just a dude. He's a good guy trying to do his best every single day. He's not some anti-hero. He's not someone that we have to learn to love. He's pretty straightforward right away. And I think this show doesn't go unless the kid performance is great. Mm-hmm. And the kid that's playing Egg, Dexter Soul Ansel, super winning. You just love him from the moment you see him. He's got that cute little British accent and just an awesome character. And he's just going to be a wealth of knowledge to kind of sprinkle over all of this Game of Thrones, House of Dragons stuff that we've already seen and learned about. Yeah, so great episode. That's all I got.
Excellent. Thank you, Luke. Very good job. Very good episode, most certainly. All right, going over to you, Andres. Your thoughts, sir, on this final portion?
Yeah, the final. I thought this was a good ending for the episode. I thought it was better. It didn't end abruptly. Like we kind of set up, kind of like our heroes like dilemma, sort of. What was very interesting. I kind of really liked the kind of juxtaposition of the tournament of seeing it as like a really like dangerous thing, and then seeing the crowds like you know yelling and all that like cheering for the game, which is kind of the norm. It was really cool. It was in the night. I wasn't expecting that, because usually when we see these kind of games in the Game of Thrones universe, it was always in daylight instead of night. So that was kind of cool. That was sort of different. But yeah, and of course, Egg saw the Targaryens. Yeah, I kind of knew that Egg was going to be a Targaryen, because that's the big thing. That's like like it's not a twist that's like so kept secret. Unfortunately, I mean, even the YouTube stuff that I checked for like this new show, it's like they instantly revealed the twist about that. So I kind of knew. That's why I've been throwing like Egg as the the Targaryen thing, as at you're saying, Luke, a little bit. But yeah, I thought this was a good ending. The ending didn't feel like it didn't feel abrupt. It felt like organically like end in the right way, and like you're seeing like Duck like just figuring out like what kind of legacy he wants to set for himself, because after like for like the first two episodes, right, he's telling all these stories about like his master and like who he served, right, but he realized that he hasn't really built like anything for himself, like as a knight. Like there's no legacy, he has no family, no one knows him, like if so, like, is any of this is true? Like, did he fought the war and all that? So, like, Dunk has to really think, seriously, like he's gonna go through to this tournament, because it is dangerous. I mean, people killed, like, we saw previously in House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, people get killed in these like games, and I just hope Dunk can think smart. I agree with Jeff. That sell the horse thing was so sad. I was like, oh come on, because study how Doug is stupid. He's like at least more caring to stuff, and like especially animals, because we always see that in this universe, these like high class like people don't really care about the people around them, and even like animals, which is kind of sick. And I like the new perspective from the show, something we haven't talked about. I like that we're in the lower ground, like the lower class and like the noble people, instead of the high class, because that's been the focus of really the first two. Like we've been focused on the higher class, and not really the people beneath, the prince and the kings and the castles, right? And this is really cool perspective for the show to see like how these people live, among the dragons and all that. I think that's a really cool perspective for this show to really tackle, especially. But yeah, overall, love this ending. I thought it was better. I think it's well paced, so I'm very excited to for the next the next 4 episodes we have. It's only 6 episodes, so we got 4 more, I think.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right. Going over to you, Imran. Your thoughts, sir, on the conclusion of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. The jousting, it was great to get jousting. It's brutal, but like they found a way to put action in the show. So you got the character work, comedy, and then here's where you get some action. And that I love the moment where Dunk sees the jousting and he has a little panic attack, and you can see on his face, he's like, oh, fuck, I got to do that. Oh, it's going to be, this might be a thing. In the crowd, it's like gladiator times. They just they love the blood. They want to see the blood. They just were so into it. So yeah, the whole bit where the guy fell off the horse and then he grabs his horse on the way back and his shield. Like you could get dehorsed, then you got to look out for the other horse coming by. You're gonna get trampled. Like this is a brutal fucking sport. So if they dive into like the strategy and the nuances, that will be a lot of fun. And the little pep talk at the end is great. Yeah, at least we know what Dunk's fighting for the memory of Arlen, to make him to be his legacy and to not end up like Arlen, who lived to 60 and nobody remembered him and didn't really accomplish anything. But these two need each other, But I was thinking about if Egg's the squire, how's he handing that lance up to Dunk on those end of those fucking runs? He's so tiny. He's gonna have to throw it up there. And also you see Egg is like learning how to squire watching these games. So I can't wait till we get Dunk in the armor and I'm pretty sure it's gonna go really bad the first round because that's how these things will go, and then he will learn and get better, hopefully.
He did set up the entire camp. Like that was he's a competent little fella.
Oh, Egg, that's right. He got the fire going and the little tent, and
he was like a little Samwise Gamgee up there.
Yeah, he's got the little fish. Like I don't know who needs who more, but I feel like Duncan needs Egg more and doesn't really realize it right now because that kid is smart. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, great episode so far. I'm really, really enjoying the show. It's very surprisingly delightful.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I agree. I think this is so far superior to House of Dragons. To me, this show feels like Game of Thrones again. Even though the original Game of Thrones was a lot more serious, this one's a little more free-hearted. But at the same time, still, I feel that the essence of the original Game of Thrones is back. Unlike the House of Dragons, which felt really much like that. House of Dragons just felt like something completely different to me. It didn't feel like a Game of Thrones show. Even though it was, they had dragons and they, took place during the time frames and stuff like that. It just didn't feel the same. So I think that this show has what that show is missing, and it has that fun feeling again of what made Game of Thrones so much fun. But yeah, I have to agree. I think a great ending. The jousting was amazing, and I think great little, pep talk at the end was really fun, and just overall, just a really fun episode. All right, so what would you rate this episode, fellers? I'll start with you, Jeff.
I'll give this one a 8, Cyber.
All right, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a setup episode, so yeah, 8 sounds good. I'll go with an 8 too.
All right, Imran.
That's also where I'm at. I was thinking 8, and it seems appropriate. Yeah, we get more character, but they are setting up things for the remainder of the plot. We get to meet the girl, and we see the jousting, and it's like a little video game. He's going around talking to people, collecting his armor, getting his loot, trying to find food. But I don't think it was filler. But every time he's on, you get more of their character, so it's time well used.
I kind of like the love story. I hope they don't focus too much on it. I don't want like a full episode, or like I have it be a part of it, don't have it be too much. I would say that.
Yeah, it could be like he's got a crush on her. It doesn't have to be all
the real relationship we want to see is Duncan.
Duncan.
So let's see that. Let's dive in.
It's a good idea. Yes, let's not complicate things.
Excellent. Awesome. Yeah, I'll give this one a 9. It gets a 9 for me only because of how short it was. I absolutely hate how short the episode was. I wish it was like at least 45 minutes. But being only half an hour long kind of cracks me up, especially for a show of this scale. I have to give it a 9. But otherwise, I think it was a really excellent episode, just like everyone else has said. It looks like we lost Mr. Pop Culture Guy.
I saw that.
Unfortunately, he can't give his rating right this second. But that is the episode, folks. I will hand it over to Jeff for plugs.
All right, sir. Plugs. Andre's the Pop Culture Guy. He dipped. Hopefully he'll come back. But Imran, tell us what's going on at the Jock and Nerd podcast, sir.
Oh, we're jocking, we're nerding, all sorts of fun stuff, reviewing movies, TV, entertainment news. We will do a full Game of Thrones Knights of the Seven Kingdom review once the show is over, but we just did put out a Begonia review as it got 4 Oscar nominations. And you can see there, we reviewed The Rip on Netflix and other fun stuff. There's always fun, crazy things, new shows every Wednesday. So just subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We are everywhere.
All right. Thank you, Imran. Okay. Luke, you would be next, sir. Franchise Addicts podcast. Have at it, sir.
Yeah, franchise addicts, check out our new episodes. We've been doing Mad Max. So we just did Road Warrior. And the first one the last 2 weeks. We are on a little bit of a break, so Thunderdome is going to be coming to you at some point. I don't know quite yet, but check out our back catalog where we covered Indiana Jones, Batman, the Alien franchise, Terminator. We've done a ton of them. So go check out our back catalog for all those episodes. And then I consistently over the next until the Oscars will be over on Talkin' TV doing the movies of Paul Thomas Anderson.
Ooh.
So we did Boogie Nights this last week. I think that's releasing either today or tomorrow.
Oh, well, tell Dom we said hello.
Yep, I will definitely say tell Dom what's up. It is him and I on those. We are doing watch-alongs. And then he's editing them up. The one on Boogie Nights is a ton of fun. I accidentally watched the movie before we did a watch along because I thought we were just doing a recap. So I watched Boogie Nights back to back on a Sunday. And, I didn't regret it. It was great for all 4.5 hours of it.
Lots of Paul Thomas Anderson there.
Boogie Nights.
So yeah, I've had my
Wait,
fill
Macy.
of male genitalia for the
Yeah, you got a prosthetic in that one too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The man in Game of Thrones a little bit more gifted than Dirk Diggler.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Luke. And we wish you the best over there with Dom. That sounds like a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
we like
hard
we like
8
Dom.
this weekend. Hard 8.
Awesome. Cyberneticshark, sir. Go ahead.
All right, folks, if you enjoyed me as the moderator, or if you enjoyed me on the panel, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark. You'll find me on YouTube. That's my home base. But you can find me on other social media platforms, you know, all the great ones, X, TikTok, all that great stuff. As you can see there, my most recent review is of Avatar, Fire and Ash. Finally got that up for reviewing. If you haven't checked that out, give it a whirl. Also, my other recent video was there is the trailer reaction to the Mummy, Leon Cronin's The Mummy trailer, teaser trailer. So check that out as well. I also will have some more videos up for that soon. For my shorts, I most recently went and saw Mercy and 28 Days Later, the Bone Temple. If you haven't seen either of those, check those out. Those are really fun little mini reviews. Mercy was absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to do the full review on that. My most recent Sora video was one that was asked to be made by both Andreas, the pop culture guy, and Jesse Starcher, who was on last Friday with us. Of me as a game show host, giving 10s as the points that you get for getting an answer correct. So check that out if you haven't checked that out. I'll have more stuff up for you guys soon. Just working slowly on putting stuff up for you guys. Keep your eyes out for that great stuff. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep on subscribing. Keep on watching. Keep on checking that stuff out. Check out my Patreon. And keep on watching us here on the MCU Bleeding Edge. And also checking out these awesome other creators that are on the show with us. Please check out the Jack and Nerds podcast and Franchise Addicts. They are fantastic. And we thank you.
That's right. We'll be back Friday for Fallout, I believe episode 7. And that is it for us for tonight, folks. This is it for episode 2 of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We are out of here. We'll see you later. Peace.